That's the unfortunate thing, I think, with the Breath of the Wild level system. You can get one crazy weapon and suddenly the game can't beat you anymore.
Yeah. That's why they have that's also why they have the everything breaks, because so unbalanced. The only way to balance it is to constantly make it that you can lose your cool weapons, that you have to keep
Yeah, you have to
that
get
they
new
keep
ones.
resetting you.
Based idea or batshit idea?
What?
I think he's gonna type it up.
Oh, here it comes.
Bring in the Metal Gear 3 perishable system for the weapons.
Ooh, let me think about it. Now, are you saying that you get to keep the weapon, but it has an element of it that you need to restock,
says,
like
you
the
know
silencer?
How food goes bad over
okay.
time.
Oh, I got you.
So you can't hoard it. You can't drag and hoard all your recipes and stuff.
Okay. Only you and I want this, because I like the constant switch up. I think the battles where you're constantly switching up your strategy on the fly is when that combat system actually shines. Because other than that, is it jump? Oh, I could have used that. I think that you should always be just stripped of your stuff. I think the hoarding in that game is what makes it bad, because I think when you're going on the fly, that's how you're supposed to be playing it. The whole point of and the fact that the problem with the game is that it doesn't lean into that. So by the end of both those games, you become an unstoppable god, and the game goes to shit. The game's at its best when you're using rocks to hit people in the head, or making weird contraptions on the fly that can help you. The further you get in the game, the worse it gets, because it stops giving you... So if that game, it stops giving you more options. So if they got rid of all the leveling shit with the enemies and just have it that you barely ever have weapons and you're always scavenging, I think it's a better game. There's a fucking reason everyone loves Eventide Island and all the shrines and Tears of the Kingdom that take away your stuff, because it's the most fun to be just constantly swapping shit on the fly and just making new plans as you go along.
How do you feel about
I'm for it.
Would you cut down the amount of weapons that you can hold? Because I think in both these you can hold
I would have it that you can hold 2 weapons, and they both suck, and you have to.
And you might have to switch them out and do other things with them.
And you constantly have to maybe more than 2, but you always have to
4.
figure out how to take out. Weapons should be. They're never gonna do this because it requires too much of the player being smart. But honestly, having everything be procure on site, you barely have anything. You have to figure out how to beat this enemy with a cardboard box and a stick, and the answer is I get in the cardboard box and walk around the enemy instead of fighting.
There's maybe also different solutions with what you have.
Yeah, you never go in sometimes.
It's not a complete beatdown every time. It would give it a
fucking reason to even have that game has a stealth system.
Why?
Nobody uses it because there's no point, but I would love to have a reason. The best I can do is I can make my own challenge where I only hold 1 weapon at a time, and then the rest of the time I have to sneak around and do weird shit, or make a ship to fly over, the enemy or something. Imagine the big skeleton Hinox thing is standing in the way. You could fight it, yeah, or you could build a fucking airship out of a bunch of balloons in your pocket and fly over it, and that would be way cooler and more Zelda-like to me than just combat. I don't think Zelda's a combat game. I think it's a puzzle game, and I think the combat in the newer games could have been the puzzle that the rest of the game is lacking. Every encounter could have been a puzzle, but because they give you 100 weapons, it's and even them breaking them, it's not enough. And people didn't like that system because they want. Here's the thing: if everyone got the system they wanted, where you just have 1 weapon the whole game, everybody would call that game a bigger snooze fest than they already call it.
That's one of the downsides.
Every encounter is the same.
Well, it requires the player buy-in.
Yeah. It would be a massive snooze fest with you hitting the same button to do the same combo, because that game doesn't have the other stuff that the older Zeldas have. It doesn't have complex dungeons that are interesting. It basically only has walk forward and do combat for a lot of it. So having and they know that. That's why that system exists. That's why the weapons falling apart exist, because they know how probably. You think that was their first? You think when they made open world Zelda, they had fucking weapons fall apart as like the first thing on their sheet?
Probably not.
They probably found out halfway through that, oh my god, it's just the same shit over and over and over again. It's so boring. And they're like, well, what if we just make it that your weapon falls apart so you have to at least switch up something? Because it's the most interesting when you get clever. I suck at Mario Kart.
You suck at this Mario Kart.
That's true.
There's many Mario Karts.
There's many Mario Karts for me to suck at.
The one Indiana Jones game had some good puzzles from what I saw. The newest one, I think it's the Great Circle. I know it's kind of different, but I wish Breath of the Wild had more puzzles like that, not just those shrines and dungeons. Or I guess that, well, the new one has the shrines too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it has shrines.
I hated shrines. At some point, there's so many of them everywhere that I saw one.
You start not wanting to go in them.
Well, what bummed me out is I saw 2 shrines next to each other. And I was like, this is stupid. I'm never going in these again.
They start to feel like I'm doing homework.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I get to a new village, I'm excited, and then I realize, oh, I gotta go do a shrine soon.
And I didn't like that the solution, like what you get out of a shrine, was essentially a new weapon.
That's what I'm saying, that the best version of Zelda is just to not do that shit. That game is better if you just don't do half the shit in it. And you just run around to all the set pieces. Because the set pieces in Tears of the Kingdom are awesome.
Yeah, the mini dungeon thing was cool. It doesn't happen as often in that game, though.
Like, I thought like the wind temple and all that stuff is like some of the best stuff in Zelda, but it gets drowned out by the end of the game. Like I forget all the cool shit by the end of it because I've spent 100,000 hours running across basically the same fields I've been running across for a decade almost.
I feel really bad, by the way, because there was a lot of people pre-gaming with Breath of the Wild.
Oh, you idiot fool.
For Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, you foolish fool.
And I was like, oh, that has to fucking
you
suck.
stupid bastard.
That has to suck, because you just played it, and you're playing it again.
That has to be the worst way to experience Tears of the Kingdom.
You have a banana, but oh, you used it, okay.
Oh, I keep doing that turn, and it's stupid for me to do that.
You think it's like a shortcut. These guys there get you a lot, by the way.
I haven't paid attention to this level the entire time I've been here. Ooh, that doesn't help me, but it looked cool.
It looked like you had like a plan.
It's over. It's over for Toad.
I played it for a year or 2 ago, and I ended up selling it. I learned how to bomb surf, though.
Yeah, the speedruns sound like a fun way to play it because you're just doing the cool shit.
Open world games was a mistake because it literally is just space between the major things that you're going to end up doing anyway. I
know, the Wind Temple set piece that I remember so fondly could have been... It didn't need an open world.
It just could have been a thing that you walked to.
It was a cool like design level.
In a linear way.
It was a really cool level that was really like tight with its design, and it didn't have to be in a open world game to achieve what it did. The only thing the open world added was the scale when you're high up in the air and you're looking and you're seeing the whole world. That was cool. But I could get rid of that and I just not have me run across that field as often as it did. Let's just do the next. Let's pretend I won. That's
one of the speedrun strats, though. Admittedly, I just like building the funny, stupid cars that can barely truck along.
I do too. And I wish they gave me more reason to make those cars. And I'm even cutting out the... I'm just going to pretend that the bike doesn't work. The air bike... It broke the game too much. It actually ruined the game.
Is that the goblin glider thing?
Yeah, once you learn about the air bike, you have to just... Once you learn about it, the air bike, every run you do is a challenge run if you're not using it, because you have to go out of your way to not make that design, because it's so perfect and easy to make.
And when you get something that's like that, that's really easy to do, it's very hard to not just make that.
The air bike really... The air bike... If I was Nintendo, I would be fucking absolutely pissed about the air bike. I would say, how come nobody knew that the best all-around thing could be made with like 3 items.
Well, they had to know if they're making all the stats for stuff. For like the usage and how many little gems and things it uses.
The air bike is such a killer. It's such a destroyer of the game. Like it removes all fun by being too good.
No one's boosting from the start line here.
Like for AM, because Darkly's here, he noticed that it's fairly easy. Like once you know what to do, even on hard. So I was like, well, I can't have that as a designer. You can't find the secret, like to how to just beat it.
He took it down to like a science.
Yeah, it becomes a science. You just have to look around.
Do this, do that, do this.
So I added something. Good. I added something to hopefully make it just a slightly harder. Because I wouldn't want a fix that easy in a game. I wouldn't want to design like something that easy to break.
They assassinated the person responsible for letting the air bike be made. Hey!
It's the worst leak of... It's the air bike leaking. The air bike design leaking was worse for Tears of the Kingdom than the actual leak of the game. Because it completely destroyed... It destroyed the exploration of that game. Half the hollow feeling people have is when they use the air bike, and everything about the game becomes completely trite.
Well, that's why hard mode should still be hard, though. You know? And we are balancing it off of your hard mode run, essentially.
Yeah.
Big Sauce also wanted it to be harder when he played it the one time, and we did the same thing.
Yeah, hard mode has no limit. I can make it as hard as I want. Like the whole point of hard mode is that I want to make a hard game. People don't like playing a hard game.
We're leaving these things that we're talking about out of normal mode.
Yeah. I added stuff that's exclusive to hard mode.
And that's to just, the people that want to play hard mode are expecting a challenge. And probably like a challenge,
I think that's probably how I'm going to do difficulty from now on. I like the Dark Souls, like, just learn, get good kind of thing. Like, I appreciate that, but most people don't, so...
There's some fun stuff
Or not as many people
now.
appreciate that as I thought.
There's some stuff that you may appreciate, Darkly, in AM now on hard mode.
Yeah, we fuck with you more.
Yeah.
It's getting closer and closer to its true FNAF form.
Yes, it is.
I still have to balance though. I haven't touched it since I implemented things, so I have to make sure it's
I have to run. That's the thing I should do tomorrow. Give it a run through.
Yeah. But yeah, having fun mode or hard mode's great because now I don't have limiters. I don't have to.
You also don't have worries.
Yeah. There's always a way out.
Like if you pick hard mode and then bitch it's too hard.
I can also add a difficulty selector from the menu if it does get too hard. You can always leave the game, but there's no way to do it while you're playing. Switch the difficulty.
Oh, like if they want to play but save their progress,
yeah,
but just switch the difficulty. Yeah.
If their pussy starts acting up.
Come on.
They can switch.
But normal mode should be a space between basically easy and normal. Because we've had a couple. Honestly, we've had a couple people play it that I don't know if they play like 3D games often. So they're a good barometer for like an easy mode.
I don't know how to make it easier without just removing her altogether.
Well, you already did, sorta.
I already think it's too easy on normal, but
normal's a breeze. But that's who it relies on if you know where to go and stuff like that.
Hard mode still has that issue.
If you're just
if you know where to go,
yeah, but
it's always good. But the first time
that
through
I think
should
is fine.
Yeah.
Most games become easier if
once
you know
beat
where
it.
to go.
Yeah.
And that's I think normal. On the topic of hard mode, the new Doom's difficulty setting slider sounds awesome. I could imagine it was a bitch to make, but fully customizable difficulty is sick. I guess fully customizable difficulty.
I don't like that. Not that it's a bad thing. It's more of like, I don't want to choose. I don't want to... I would rather they just give me levels and I beat those tiers. Because once you add different modifiers, it's It's too much. I think it's too much power. To me, okay.
To me,
that's equivalent to the fucking difficulty slider in Skyrim, where like it doesn't feel good to use it.
Do they have though?
It's too easy to.
Do they have recommended stuff that they like?
If they have recommended stuff.
If they have recommended stuff, I'd probably just gonna do that and then ignore the rest.
Although I say this without seeing it, I don't know what it looks like or what it does.
With what it sounds like did you just kind of threw the difficulty in the player's hands then?
Yeah, now they're the dev.
Yeah, you guys do all the work on that.
It. We're sick of deving it. You do it.
Okay, they have a normal difficulty options. It's just extra settings on top. I would probably just
I'm cool with.
I would just probably pick that.
That I like. That takes from Kingdom Hearts. That's the pro code stuff, where you put it on hard and then you go, well, what about even more things that you can put on top of it? Kingdom Hearts did that. What else did that? Dragon Quest XI has that too. The draconian like rules set that you can put it on hard and then be like, also I don't want to level up and stuff like that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's good. That's
cool.
Fine.
I also like the reward.
I thought you meant like it was like, well, now we've changed the fire rate of the demon thing, you know, and stuff like that.
There's a smattering of numbers. You dev it.
You tick them all around.
You dev it until you're happy. Oh, ice with this game? Oh boy, I'm
playing
fucked.
it briefly. I liked what the new Kid Icarus 3DS game did, where the more challenging you make a level, the more rewards you could get.
I love that. So that's a good.
But
system.
Again, it's really hard.
That's a good system. There is no like. I think people who play on hard should be rewarded.
And
because they're the people that understand the game
and
more.
It's good.
Yeah.
If you can't do it, then you don't get it. Like that's
I think it's good because the people who play on hard, they get your game more. Like they deserve to be rewarded for spending the time to understand the mechanics you set up. I fucking hate this level.
These levels are really small, maybe too small. You know what I mean? Like
Dude,
they're very.
Look at this. Hold on. Look at these little blocks. There's like little blocks. Those see that? Those can block me.
Also been playing Harvest Moon: Winds of Anthros. I haven't played a Harvest Moon since the one that was on, I think, the Nintendo 64. They're too stressful. Way too stressful.
Yeah, I don't get the stress-free part of it. I thought Stardew Valley was
Same
my min-max brain.
Stress. That's too stressful.
Yeah, I know you don't have to, but my fear of winter ruined the game for me.
You're on a time limit, so you do have to. Whoa, you cleared that hole.
That was on purpose. That was on purpose. Oh, cool. This is the last one I'm doing. Once we rank out, we're out of here. We're going to Mario 64. Fuck this game.
I think you've played about an hour in this. I think that's enough.
That's more than enough.
That's more than it.
I think there's a good to it. I like this more than F-Zero. I think I'd like the difficulty if I had the time to sit down and learn it.
Well, you have to learn the courses.
Yeah, I like the course difficulty.
You can hop over stuff too, which is cool.
Yeah, I like these right angle turns. They make it a lot harder.
This one seems to benefit you more on like the inside curve, not the outside curve. The outside curve has just shit all over it.
Like when I nail it, like I get a win.
Like you do it now.
When you nail it in, oh my god,
I said it out loud.
When you nail it in when you nail it in the new ones, like when you do perfectly, you just get fucked by a blue shell and it sucks. But in this, when you nail it, you get a victory. Like you should earn.
It's balanced.
Yeah.
You get punished. You get punished for being in first place in the other ones.
We're going over to a real Mario Kart now.
Circuit. Oh.
No, we're going to a real man's Mario Kart.
Is this where boys become men?
Yeah. I should fare a lot better for these ones, these courses. Where are you?
Passed it. It's next to Zelda.
No new, nothing. Okay. There's Harvest Moon 64.
There's there's like 5 good games here.
Dude, Excite Bike is one of them.
6 then.
This is the N64 library. There's 16 good games and a bunch of dog shit.
Banjo.
And it all costs $60.
Mario.
Almost
Zelda
everything
and
that's good is already here. Like, what else do you add to this?
Pokemon Stadium is good.
Donkey Kong 64 gets on the list, I guess.
Does anyone give a shit about Iggy's Wrecking Ball?
We can have the worst ports of PS1 games like Tony Hawk and Resident Evil. So we can get those on here, I guess. There's not, you know, I thought the 64 was really cool as a kid, but I have grown to realize that while the good games have aged wonderfully for me, like Ocarina of Time is still pretty cool. Like, and by pretty cool, I mean very cool. Majora's Mask is still very cool. Paper Mario is still badass. Banjo-Kazooie is alright. while the good games have aged beautifully, there's so much dog shit. And there weren't that many games, really. There really weren't that many games for this system.